we're ready to start again. Hopefully everything's going to run smoothly. So the card that we're going to make today has a lot of stamping on it and a little bit of colouring. Let me show you the card. That's our card that we're going to be doing. I'm going to change it slightly. Again, we're going to use different colours just because I like to do that to see what different cards look like. The stamp sets that we're using, I'm still working with the Irresistible Blooms, and for the one we're doing today, instead of using the sentiment from that, I'm going to make it a Mother's Day card. Clearly my mind is focused on Mother's Day coming up, and I'm going to be doing a Mother's Day market, so I need to build up some Mother's Day cards. So I'm going to be using this Happy Mother's Day from the Celebrating You stamp set. We don't need a lot in the way of inks and colorings and extra bits and pieces. I'm going to use Calypso Coral, Pear Pizzazz, and the Dark Petal Pink blends. And that's all that we need for today. So let's get stamping. Okay, so the other thing that we are going to need is obviously, or maybe not so obviously, this all has a lot of masking on it, which gives you the effect of the flowers being behind each other even though they're stamped. And for that, I'm using the masking paper. What I've done is I've stamped my flowers and then cut them out along the edges. You can see I've used these a few times to make a few different cards because it may have taken me a while to get that stamping right. But you can keep on using it as long as you peel it off gently. The only thing that I will suggest with this masking paper is that it is quite sticky. So when you start using it, actually just, press it against your clothes or against something just to get it a little bit less sticky. Otherwise, it can rip the paper. You have to be really careful when you pull it off. Okay, so stamping, here we go. I'm going to start with my big flower and just stamp that in the bottom corner over here. While I'm busy with the big flower, I'm going to stamp the top as well. But once I start masking, we're going to have to work individually. And I stamped the same as I had along the top on the inside. So let's just do all of that stamping at the same time. Along the bottom over there. Now I'm going to take my big mask and just lay it over my big flower. Now I realized afterwards that it kind of does your head in a little bit when your mask is stamped in one color and you're stamping in another color. So maybe in future what I'll do, if I intend changing colors, is use black ink to stamp my mask. Okay, so I'm stamping another flower there and another one of the smaller ones over there. It's not 100% accurate. You don't have to position it anywhere completely particular. And now we're going to put the two smaller flower masks. Oh, that didn't line up very well at the bottom. It should. Okay, that's a bit better. So we're going to mask those out. So whenever you're stamping over the mask, the effect that you're getting is whatever you've stamped looks like it's behind your image that's masked out. Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to stamp some leaves at the top over there. I'll stamp one here. I want a bit of greenery at the bottom. And the nice thing about the mask is I can just stamp away and it's not going to be overlapping my flowers. Now, before I remove that mask, I want a little bit of dots. So here I'm just being careful because although my flowers are masked out, my leaves aren't. So I just want to make sure that I'm not, and I mean if you don't mind the dots over the leaves, that's fine, but I don't want too much orange going over my green. And some, I'll just put another few on the bottom over there. Right. Ooh, I think I stuck that into the green ink. Okay. Now we need to remove this mask over here. Oh, I'm tearing it. Okay, so be careful how you lift that because you can tear it. That's okay. It will work for what we still need it to do, and maybe this is going to be my last card that I'm going to use with this mask. Okay, now I just need to get it positioned. Why can't I position this one? Might be because I've torn it. Okay. Alright, this is supposed to be easy. That's... How badly did I tear this? Otherwise, I'm going to... Okay. There's my inside. Right. I don't think that's 100% accurate, but we're going to go with it. And making sure that I'm getting orange flowers this time and not green flowers. And again, we're going to take the little flower mask and pop it over these little flowers. And add some leaves. Right, and just in case you need to see the masking again, we're going to do it on the inside. And the reason that I'm doing it again on the inside is because I'm actually going to colour the inside one because there's less to colour on this one, and I do have another one that I've got all nicely coloured for the front. So here I am stamping these flowers that they're going a fair bit over the edge. And of course if you want the dots on the top you can put them on. I haven't put the dots on the top. No, really? Okay. And some leaves. There we go. Right, now don't you like it when you pull off your masking tape and your whole picture is suddenly revealed? It's like magic. There we go. Alright, let me put my ink pads away before I stick my finger right into it. And now I'm going to take my dark petal pink and just colour in the petals of the flowers. Now, just don't stress too much if it looks like it's too dark because the blends do dry lighter. So it's just give it a few seconds to dry and it will come lighter. To me the petal pink does have a very orange tinge to it. You could use pale papaya as well, but I just like the petal pink and the Calypso Coral going together. I don't know if anybody saw, I did post that. We don't know whether it was a sneak peek. Shannon said that it was just her wish list, but maybe it was a sneak peek of a colour that's coming, which is a really, from what she suggested, nice pale pink, which I think we need. So that'll be good in the colour of Fresh, because this petal pink to me always has that orange tinge to it, and Blushing Bride has a bit of brown in it, so you never know exactly. You know, we need something that's a really pink. Okay, now the one thing I've got my stamp set, but I obviously have left the actual stamp in my dining room where I was stamping earlier. So stamp your sentiment here, and I actually did intend to have the sentiment stamped, but when I stamped that one I might have just messed it up a little bit, so that was why plan B was to have it on a backing and just stick it over the mess. But if you can stamp it and it goes nicely onto the card, well, I prefer it like that, but obviously whatever you like best. And then we're taking our Calypso Coral card base, too many pieces here, and we're going to stick that onto the front. Now I would decorate an envelope as well, because we all know that I like to have everything matching. But just remember, if you do stamp the corner of your envelope, when you're going to colour it with the blends, just make sure that you put a piece of scrap paper inside the envelope, because those blends do bleed through. So at least if you just put a piece of paper underneath where you're colouring, it won't bleed through to the other side of the envelope. Alright, so there's the inside, and there's our cards in the two different colours. What I'm going to do later is, once I've got pictures of both of them, I'll put up a little poll on my Facebook page and you can comment on which one you prefer, the Calypso Coral or the Starry Sky. Thanks for bearing me with my lateness this morning. Have a good week, and I will see you again next week. Until then, bye.